Pretty cool. Hi, I had the greatest pleasure to sit here with Fisher. We are currently in the aftermath of H1 4420 in London, and we talked a little bit about finding eye doors, and Fisher said there's a very easy way to do it with help of tools inside Burp.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to listen to Fisher, educate us how you set up Autorize, and automate this process with Auto Repeater.
Yes.
Let's find some eye doors.
All right, let's do it. So basically, there are these two great plugins for Burp.
Yeah.
That really makes the process much easier. And they can be used actually at the same time or just one at a time. So I think we'll start with Autorize because it's the easiest one to set up and it's probably the one you're going to use it most of the times.
And what is Autorize?
Okay, so Autorize, basically what it does is for each request you do, it will send an equal request but with something changed.
Okay.
And this something is usually the cookie of the session or any additional headers that he needs to in order to connect to the web app. And by doing this, we can automate the process of looking for IDORs or access control issues, because basically we'll have user A and we'll navigate the web app with user A.
Okay.
And we're going to tell Autorize to use the cookies from user B. And by doing this automatically, we can...
Who's doing this for us? So we're browsing the site and we're adding the credentials or cookies for a lower privileged user.
Yes.
And it will see if we can get an IDOR, which is an indirect object reference, that we're accessing something where we're not supposed to.
Yes, exactly.
Sweet.
Let's do it. We're doing this on business.uber.com because we've tested this a lot of times. Okay, so we have user 1, which we'll use to browse the web application, and then we have user 2, which is here.
Which of the users is going to be privileged?
It's the first user. So I know that this is the second user.
Yeah.
So we just go here, copy
all the cookies.
All the cookies. We go
so
here.
There's no selection there. You just take all the cookies.
Yeah, just all the cookies.
Smashing them in.
And if you have any additional header, you can just insert it here. Okay? We want scope items only. So this is an interception filter, and basically we want to keep as little garbage in our little screen as possible.
Yeah.
So we go here, we have this filter, and now Autorize will ignore spider requests. It will only consider scope items, and it will not consider all of these.
Okay, cool.
Because when we are testing for this, and when we are testing for long periods of time, we want to keep this as simple as possible and as clear as possible. And then we just turn it on. Yes. So this is account number 1. We're starting to browse in it, and the requests are starting to flow.
Oh.
Okay.
So all these requests are now coming in from user number 1, but we're and we're capturing the data.
Yes. So for each of these requests, Autorize sends another request, and we can see basically the result. So this is the original request, which was sent to this specific RPC call, and this was the original length, right? And then we can, if you click here, we see the modified request, which is the same original request, but with the cookie chains. We get a 403 forbidden.
Okay.
So
it means we can't access it.
It means we cannot access it. And Autorize is cool in that sense. That if he gets a 403, okay, then that means it's probably enforced, right?
Okay, so enforced is saying it's you can't get anything.
Exactly. The flow to continue and search for additional IDORs, you just go through the web app, try and basically hit all of the features, change some information. Exactly. Click everything, you do all the necessary changes, and if one of these requests goes through, you'll probably see something like this, which is like a question mark.
Yeah.
And you'll go and actually analyze the request and see like, okay, if it's not enforced, then maybe it's a vulnerability. In this case, it's not.
So what would be the next stage?
What I usually do is, okay, so these RPC calls were already tested, right? So
yeah.
I'll go into the proxy and I'll actually mark all of these as out of scope. I clear authorized lists,
yeah.
And if I continue testing the app, those requests will not be sent again. That way, you know that when a new request comes in, it's one that you haven't analyzed yet.
Oh, yes. Nice. So you're kind of taking care of yourself there.
Yes.
When do we need to use tools like Auto Repeater?
Basically, Auto Repeater is a version of Authorize, but buffed in steroids. It's a little bit more complicated to set up, but it's also more flexible. Usually I use Auto Repeater to test for specific resources. In this case, Uber is a really good target because they make heavily use of UUIDs.
Yeah.
So they have user UIDs, business UIDs, organization UIDs.
Those are long strings of just random numbers.
So like you want to automate this. Every time you see an organization ID, if you want to test for IDORs, you want to just change that to another business that maybe you don't control or you don't have access.
So we can actually, so what are you talking about? We can combine these two and not only test inside the tenant, we can also test the same functionality cross-tenant.
Yes, exactly.
How do you set that up?
Okay, let's do it. Basically, this is how it looks like. It's sort of similar to Authorize.
Yeah, it has the same feel, absolutely.
Yes, and the configuration is simple. So we want to do a base replacement. We can add or edit. We have lots of options, but usually what we do is select a string, a request string. We select a match and a replace.
So anything inside the request that matches this will be replaced with that.
Yes.
Cool.
We can replace it one time or replace it all the strings.
Okay.
This might be useful in some situations, but usually you want to replace all the occurrences of the
replace
string.
all.
Yes. So in this case, we have the organization 1.
Yep.
And then we have a second organization which has this business UID, and we're going to replace it.
Cool.
So when this is done, you just click activate Auto Repeater. It will basically do the same thing as we were doing.
You walk the website again, click on all the tabs,
test all the features, and we'll start seeing things coming up.
Yeah, cool. So now apparently it did find the UUID for the organization somewhere in the post.
Yes.
Snag that one, replace it with another one, which ended up with a...
So the original was 404.
Yeah.
Which, okay, makes sense for this request. And the modified response was
unauthorized
401. It's not an IDOR. To make it even more clear, we have this log highlighter, which is very amazing. And basically you can like be very verbose and visual in the results, because basically every time a 401 or 403, 404 request shows up, it will show up with this color. So I can just go here and I can say that I want to add a new log highlighter.
Damn right, it's gonna be green.
So if a request was successful, we are expecting a modified response with a 200 OK.
Yeah.
So we'll match the modified, we'll match the status code, and we'll say it's greater than or it's equal to 200.
Dude.
And that's it.
And that way you'll have one burp, you'll have two Chrome instances, or do you have one?
At most.
Yeah. And both run incognito, different users. Could you use auto repeater to, for instance, change other requests? Like headers or other stuff?
Yes, like auto repeater is very versatile in that aspect. Basically, auto repeater leverages the function that Burp has to match and replace.
Yeah.
But this does it in a way that you can configure much more things.
Okay.
Okay. But for example,
you can be very granular.
yes, you can just select the request header, the request body, request parameter name. You can add a header.
Because what I'm thinking about, whatever content you have coming in, it's named JSON, replace it with XML. See if it crashes. Cannot parse XML information. You have the possibility for it to see that.
Yeah, and you can do that absolutely. So, for example, request header, you would you go here, maybe content type.
Yeah, dude.
Application JSON, and you would replace it with application XML, for example.
Yeah, sweet.
You add that in, and that's it. Yeah.
Buddy, that was sick. Pretty cool. Thank you very much for giving me a few minutes and teaching me how this works. I'll see you around.
Yeah, I'll see you around.
Thank you.